City Church and what it has been here, coming here week after week in the month of April, as we've been, digging deep into this concept of reset your life. That has been our theme so far, and it's been amazing. Looking at the layers of conversation and insights that has been coming out of this particular theme, and I believe that you've been blessed so far. And tonight is no doubt going to be another explosive session. And just in case you're wondering what is it about reset your life, you might want to go back to the previous sessions, especially from the first week where we had Dr. Michaels, where he emphasized on the need for people to at several junctions of their lives to ask, who am I? Noting that it's an ongoing conversation, noting that the internal is what determines the external. People like to focus on what's happening, the external chaos, as against looking at what they have inside of them first. And then the second week, where I brought on Pastor Isaac and Pastor Lumde, where we spotlighted the life of Peter as told by the Bible through Pastor Stephen Fortick was the one we used, and he began to speak about this idea of resetability, and that one was another amazing. And then we escalated the conversation to the point where we now began to look deeper into relationship reset, and Pastor AJ did justice to that one. And ever since then, our reference point has been with this video by Pastor Christy Bature, whom she did justice, but just to ensure that everywhere is balanced and to ensure that we get. And then we had Dr. Adigbola, who did some scientific analysis on this concept and the need to reset. And tonight we set sail tonight on that lane, and we are looking at this idea of resetting relationships. What does it mean? And that's why we're here tonight. And I'm so glad to be here with esteemed guests. It's a full house today, so I'm super happy. On my far right, I have Dr. Michaels. Thank you for coming again. And just beside me, I have Mrs. Odunlami, who was here. And of course, we have our ODA pastor with us, Pastor Francis, who is majestically seated here with us this evening. All right, so just as I said, our reference point for the past weeks has been this video by Pastor Christy Bature, and that's what we're going to play now to give us the concept and scope into tonight's conversation. Mr. Ola, take us away to the video.
If you already have what you need, then you don't need relationship. Why are you equating relationship with material things? So a reset needs to happen in how we approach what relationship is, both for the men and the women. So men think that part of their responsibility is, or the major part of their responsibility in a relationship is to provide. However, reality now is that girls are getting everything they need that the man thinks he can provide. So when a man walks into her life, he feels useless. I can't even give her a gift. Everything I can give her is cheaper than what she can get for herself. So the man feels threatened immediately. So we need a reset there. Again, Gen Z is different.
Yeah.
That traditional role of the man as a provider has shifted because women can't provide. I don't need a man to pay for a house for me now. I don't need a man to buy me clothes. I can do all of that for myself. There is more that a husband is than a provider. Providing is one of the mundane aspects of being a husband in this day and time. So that scripture that says if a man is unable to provide for his family, he's worse than an infidel. And don't reduce it to food, clothing, and shelter. No, there's emotional security, spiritual leadership, dependability, fidelity, chivalry. Pastor was saying yesterday that if a lady is coming up the stage, somebody should be there to help her out. So if God has helped you to provide, then what you are looking for, what you need, is a man There's no husband. I cannot die alone. To go to a sperm bank and collect donated sperm and invest yourself. Incubate a baby and give birth alone. I think it's one of the most selfish things a person can do. And I'll tell you why.
Why?
She's thinking of herself alone. I run a rehab center, sir. She said, I turned 70. I don't know who my father was. My next, then you intentionally do that to a child because you are thinking of yourself. Who told you that a mother is only the one that gives birth through her canal? If that's what a mother is, what do we call the ones that give birth and throw in dustbin or dump at the orphanage and walk away? No, a mother is the one who stays until a child becomes. That's mother. And you don't have to have given birth to the child through your canal.
In another way, are you of the opinion that a lady that no husband, age, like they say, it's at a disadvantage instead of doing that? What of a situation of adoption?
Adoption. Oh, that's fantastic. You have so much love to give.
Yeah.
The orphan is in so much need of love.
Right.
You are solving two problems at the same time. Go and adopt. Adoption, fantastic. It's also a good thing because then we'll have less orphans. Yeah. We have less abandoned children. Adopt. Because you can still tell the child, I adopted you. Nobody wanted you, but I wanted you. That child will feel that they belong with you. You know, so.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
All right. Amazing conversation. In the opening statement, one of the things, just to ensure that we keep things in scope and context, one of the three things out of the many things that I feel is going to be discussed today, the major three things that we're going to be looking out for is masculinity beyond provision, reproductive ethics and longing for children, identity, ancestry, adoption, and belonging. And one of the things she said in her opening statement is that there is more that the husband is than the provider. Providing is one of the mundane aspects of being the husband in this day and time. So my question first is to Dr. Michaels. And my question is then that what else must a man bring into a relationship or marriage?
When does he agree with the woman in the first place? That's the first thing you need to establish. You can't throw him into the deep end. You're forcing him into a narrow vein. Does he agree? If he doesn't agree, what is his perspective?
Okay, I want to first of all appreciate Pastor Francis for your courage,
You started again.
for your
You started again.
courage, because I've been here several times. It takes a pastor that has courage to invite me. Yeah, so I want to actually I plan saying this before leaving the house. So I want to appreciate you very much, and
And then the knife comes out.
that's a lot. Okay, so I think the first thing to address is what's the purpose of marriage? Because if we start talking about the function of gender or gender role, gender whatever, we might miss it if we have not addressed the concept of the purpose of marriage. And so what is marriage? What's the purpose? To what end? Why should we get married? Is it a must to get married? There are 5 purposes of marriage. In that order. Number 1 is to execute the purpose of that marriage. So every marriage has a purpose, just as every person has a purpose. That means even before meeting the person you want to marry, you must have been able to project ahead, what is my own purpose? Because we can't be talking about the purpose of a marriage without talking about the purpose of the husband and the wife. The purpose of the marriage is like the hybrid of the two. Because what should be the basis of your choice of the person you want to marry should be your understanding ahead of time of the purpose of the marriage you are going to have. So if you say you are choosing somebody, what purpose? Why are we meeting? To what end is it? So to execute the purpose of that marriage. And number 2 is companionship. Number 3 is sexual intimacy. Number 4 is procreation. Sorry, I said 5. 4. So in that order, execution of the purpose of that marriage, companionship, sexual intimacy, and procreation. If you are not a good company to yourself, you can't provide good companionship to another person. So once that one is settled, a husband is somebody like let's assume we have like 10 groups at Adama Singba, and they say whichever group wins will be given $10,000 in that group, and they say the leader you choose will determine if you ever win. Do you know that everybody will forget about their whatever plan they have, and they will choose the best person to lead? That's why the smartest woman will end up allowing her husband to lead her, because what we have discovered is that men are more visionary than women. Not that women are not visionary. Men are more visionary. While women pay more attention to details, more than men. So who will you choose to lead? Is it the person that pays attention to details? Or is it the person that is able to see 50 years ahead? It is the person that is able to see 50 years ahead that has developed, not just has the seed, but has developed the seed and the capacity to be. So it's not enough to just have penis or be a man. That's not the only thing that qualifies you to be able to see into the future. You must have been able to develop, because everybody was given as a seed. So a wise wife will allow her husband to lead her, because that's the only way by which she can get to achieve her own purpose. Help the husband achieve his own purpose and achieve the purpose of the marriage. And what we have also been able to discover is that women are unstable and men are stable.
In quote.
In quotes. So men are supposed to bring stability to a woman's life. It's a major. That's why a woman is not really looking for. What a woman really is looking for is not money. You can ask them. It's not really money.
Deep down.
It's just that women are good at branding. So what they are looking for is a man that has wisdom, mature, that is able to bring stability, because it is wisdom that brings stability. While what a man is looking for is somebody who is able to encourage him, because a man wants to be a pilot today, a pastor tomorrow, a mathematician the next day. The vision here is too much. So a man needs a woman that can help encourage him. Once all those things are settled, it will be very easy for a woman to pool her funds to support the home and to support her husband. It will also be very easy for a man who is receiving good encouragement to also provide funds for the family. But ultimately speaking, a leader is a leader. So even though both of them are pulling funds together, a leader is meant to at least be able to provide more, as much as it is available. And if much is not available, at least be able to organize the fund on ground. So, but remember, we are talking about a mature man and a man with wisdom. I want to say categorically and very clearly, very few men have wisdom.
Why do you say so?
Because of upbringing. Most families have absent fathers. Even present fathers are not present. So a lot of men have never seen, don't know what it means to be a man.
Yeah, or a good father.
And a good father.
Well, I'll move the slide forward.
So that's why a lot of men don't have wisdom, because wisdom, it takes a lot to have wisdom. Because you need to first of all have information, and then you derive knowledge from information, and then you now meditate on knowledge. Knowledge is a secret. You meditate on that secret to now develop wisdom. Wisdom is the pathway to executing that secret. So it takes a lot to have wisdom. It's not by just having a house. Having a house does not mean you are ready for marriage. Having a good job. What brought that job? Was it wisdom? If it's not wisdom, that job will soon go. What will you use to pull another job? So that's why men is majorly from the home. Whatever happens to a person can be traced to the home of that person, the family of that person. If you want to know the source of what is happening to you, just go down to your family, and you'll be able to trace it down to that. And from there, that's why we ask people to have discussions with their parents. Gen Zs run away from their parents. We ask people to sit down and asking for, and then if you are getting married to somebody, you need to know a lot about the parents of that person. The reason is because your parents are living your future, or your default, let's say your default future. So if you know where your parents are going to, and you know that this is where they are going, you can look at them and then correct your own life so that you will not follow that path.
Okay, it's fascinating that you would take this approach, because fundamentally I didn't want to be part of this discussion, not because I don't have a perspective, but because I wanted to hear other people's perspectives, and also wanted to show people that if you don't change the way you think about things, it's going to affect the rest of your life. And you're so right in explaining to people that if we don't understand what marriage is, I believe we call it an institution. And in many ways, I have a book that I wrote called A Streetcar Named Marriage, which I clearly stated from the very beginning that marriage is not a destination, that it's a vehicle. And like you said, if you don't even know what it is, then this idea of provision and whatever, on Sunday, there was a lot of talk about men providing for their homes, and I got to a place where I got a little bit frustrated, and I said, oh, why do you always assume that the man must earn more than the woman? Why is that a core assumption? That what if a man is designed to help the woman become as rich as she? I said Oprah is married to a man who's not as rich as, and she's praying and saying, Lord, help Stedman to become richer than me. Well, they're not really married, but you know what I mean. Let help Stedman to be richer than me so that I will stop doing what I'm doing. It's not true. It's the other way around. Help Stedman to help me reach the peak of my career. So you're very right in that definition. But I want to add something to what you said so that we can moved from this. Because we want to reset people's minds. If you wanted to do a business, for instance, if myself and Dr. Michaels want to do a business, Dr. Michael brings his medical training and whatever to the table. We want to set up a clinic or a consultancy. Dr. Michael is the one that's qualified. What I'm bringing to the table will probably be admin skills, will probably be organization, marketing, and all that, so that Dr. Michael can do what he's supposed to do. We do that for natural institutions, but we don't do that for marriage.
Yeah.
We marry emotionally. We like somebody. Well, just because you like somebody doesn't mean that the person is a great fit for you.
Yes.
Doesn't mean that person is the partner you're supposed to work with. And what the most fascinating part for me is the fact that there are arranged marriages in Nigeria, in Ghana, in India especially, that are extremely successful.
Right.
Because they understand the institution.
Yeah.
Amazing. And I think that what this explanation has done also is to actually answer the question that I initially asked before that. What else then? Because if we understand everyone's purpose, then it makes sense. But then looking at the dimensions, these three dimensions in terms of food, clothing, and shelter, spiritual leadership, dependability. In your own opinion, which of these neglected dimensions do you think homes need most urgently now, especially from that perspective of the fact that many men didn't have someone to look up to draw wisdom from?
Many men have identity crisis.
How's that possible?
They don't know who they are because there are majorly two forces in life. Even your spiritual development is meant to ultimately move towards these two: your identity and your purpose. You are wired the way you are wired so that you are able to execute your purpose. So whatever spiritual development you are getting must be to satisfy these two things: your identity, and your ultimate purpose of your identity is to be able to now lubricate and help you execute your purpose in life. You cannot give what you don't have. A lot of men don't know who they are. And then I question, how then did you marry that person? And knowing who you are goes from temperament studies to getting to know how I think, to getting to know what are my interests in life, to getting to know about how I communicate, to getting to know a lot about, there's identity, there's personality. And I think in one of the past videos, I think I was able to talk about it too. There are some temperaments that, what I tell my clients is there are permutations to temperament. And I know that many believers don't like to hear that. They don't like to hear about temperament and the rest. From what Pastor said, those Indians, they are so intentional about the planning. Why will you marry somebody you are not, how is this person compatible? You can have peace with somebody that you are not supposed to marry. Yeah. You now say, because we have peace. Your prayers can be, each time I pray with him, our prayers always get answered. Why is it that, are you not supposed to, did you not say whenever two or three gather? Did you say whenever I was on our wife gather? We are always together. Why are you only together with this person? Why are you not together with every other person? Why are you only at peace with this person? There's something wrong. So it's about identity. A lot of our men do not know who they are. And once you don't know who you are, you won't be able to effectively execute your life purpose. And that will now have a ripple effect on the choice of who to marry. The question is, if you are to, have you ever asked yourself 200 questions about who you are? if they ask you to talk about yourself, can you summarize the whole thing in a higher education soft cover? So identity crisis is the major problem behind any problem in life. And I'm not generalizing.
Wow.
We can always trace every problem. Body problem, spiritual problem, psychological problem to identity issues. That's why, when I came here the last time, I said so many things. It says that I may know him. And when we quote that scripture, something wells up within us. We don't really know what. I know what wells up. But there's something powerful about that verse. But the truth is, the Bible says, as we are, so as he is, so we are. Therefore, if he's saying he wants to know Christ, he's saying he wants to know himself. So if you know God and it stops there, that's religion. It will not be useful for scientific innovation, for marital bliss, and for every other thing. So you must be able to use your knowledge of God to be able to figure out who you are. The Bible says, beholding the glory of God as in a glass. We are being transformed from glory to glory into the same image. So the question is not about just that I may know him. When I know him, I may know him. Know him. When you know him, that's not the end. That's why I said the knowledge of God is not the end. It's a means to an end.
Why have you been unfair to the men? Because women also don't know who they are.
Because women need men. We discovered that girls have issues. Girls that have issues, a lot of them don't have father-daughter relationship. That's why we are beginning to tell people that I think we are over-celebrating a gender.
Well, I think so. We're over-equipping one gender at the expense of the other. But there's something Pastor Tunde Amosu said many years ago, which has stayed with me. He says, everybody forgets that we're not human doers, we're human beings. Yeah. There's a sense in which we are becoming. And for me, even in Christianity, if you look at it, the prayer Jesus prayed in John chapter 17 is one of my favorite prayers, because he said that they may know you and Christ whom you, that they may know God. That they may know, I've forgotten how the context of it, I'll remember in a minute. He says, I pray for these ones that they might know God and Jesus Christ whom he sent. You know what I mean? And he goes on to say, he talks about that's the ultimate purpose of eternal life. And he says that's how it goes. This is eternal life, that they might know you. And I remember becoming a Christian, and people used to say eternal life was living forever. But Jesus said eternal life is knowing God. And if we apply what you said, which is about knowing God means knowing yourself, God's also ultimate purpose is that the more you know me, the more you know yourself. Means that that's our essence in life. That's what we're here for.
Yes.
It's not to become rich, successful. It's to know God and know who we are, because we still have eternity to live out. And it's missing. And it's all this, like you said, allocated roles. Is he a good provider? Is he a good dad? Is he a good sex machine? Is he a good, is she a wonderful lover? You know, and all those ridiculous things. And then we forget that it's actually, at the end of the day, who's the person? Who have you become? And we are human beings. And so, if it's not a priority for us in church to become, it's not one of our. And one of the topic for next month is becoming better. And that's what I'm trying to understand now. That wait a minute, what am I supposed to becoming? What am I supposed to become? Where am I going?
Yes.
Who am I supposed to be at the end of the day?
Yes.
Because if I don't know that, anything will be okay for me.
Yes. Any destination
will be okay for me. Well, I listened to a lady yesterday on a program called The Moth. She's one of the few black country singers. And she said when she started, she wrote country songs and people fell in love with her. And so they wanted to sign her up, give her a contract. But she said they were trying to make her into the country singer version of Michael Jackson's sister. What's her name now? I can't remember her name. She's still alive. Janet Jackson. And so she said she wasn't going to take the contract. And so she takes it. But he said it took her 9 years. She rejected the contract. Everybody was surprised she rejected it. It took her 9 years to finally win a Grammy or something for her performance. You know what I mean? And she said it took a lot of courage for her to reject that particular thing because she knew that what they were trying to make her wasn't what she was.
Right.
And I think that's why we're talking about this issue of reset your life. You need to, what really matters? You know, what is the important thing? Is it that you're the one, you know, I have men who bring in money to their homes and their wives don't appreciate them.
Yeah.
I have men who don't bring money to the house and their wives appreciate them.
Yeah.
So it's almost as if there's no formula to this thing.
Yeah.
So you get to move on to the next questions. Yeah.
She has
Okay,
one
so
question.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, sir, Mr. Michael. You made mention of something very important about identity. And you specifically spoke about the men not having proper models, which I agree with. So I would like you to talk about it much more extensively, especially for those who are planning to get married and are not sure. You're talking about them knowing themselves. At what point will they get to know that, yes, I know myself.
Okay.
And then now I can go and know somebody else.
Okay, right. So the thing is, you can't, knowing yourself is a lifelong thing.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
But you need to know the core of you.
Okay, like how?
The core of you is, number one, actually, temperament has been coming to my mind because I'm in church. I've been trying, but I just want to be myself.
Okay.
We tell people introverts. Okay, there are 4 temperaments: sanguine, choleric, melancholy, phlegmatic. In that spectrum, sanguine, choleric, melancholy, phlegmatic. Extrovert, extreme extrovert to extreme introverts. So what we have been saying is that 2 extreme introverts should never marry themselves.
So those that have married, what do they do?
They have to go for counseling. They have to go for even therapy.
Oh my God.
And if you can ask them if they are enjoying their marriage, they will just say, And then at couples counseling, they say, why do you want to marry this lady? That's
Because
one of the
it's
most
scam.
difficult questions you can ever ask a couple.
Yeah.
Because there's no, like our pastors, intentional stuff. So, so you need to know, we all have all the 4, but 2 are predominant. So out of those 2 that are predominant, one is primary, one is secondary.
Okay.
So you have to know your own primary and secondary. As you experience spiritual growth, all the 4 will become almost like you would have succeeded in true spiritual growth. Neo. I'm not talking about the fake ones.
Emphasis.
All the 4 would have been so developed. It will take a professional to actually be able to narrow down your 2 predominant temperaments. But you still need to make your choice of who to marry. One of the choices has to be based on those 2 predominant temperaments. So what we say, phlegmatics, for example, they don't talk. They are not likely going to be if it is primary, if phlegmatic is primary, they are not likely going to be the one to ask the lady out.
Yeah.
The lady is likely going to be the one that will ask. And they must not try to go and ask them out because that will be them going against their own energy that God created them. So there are some men that are not supposed to be pursuing. They're supposed to be waiting for the woman to come. There are some women that they are longing to pursue, and they are to pursue those men that are
them down.
But exactly. So we have many people who are going against the energy, the God-created energy, and energy is the way you are created.
Yes,
So you have to know who you are, so that you are able to know if a girl is eyeing you, be eyeing me. If you don't come here, I'm not going there. Yeah. And it's not like I don't want to come, but I don't want to go against my energy. I have gone against my energy several times, and it has landed me into trouble.
Yeah.
So you're not going to marry a lady just. Of course, you need to also know the physical features. But the fact that a lady has a physical feature does not mean that the internal feature aligns with what you want.
Yes.
So you have to decide what the external features are and also what the internal features are. Then the mind of what kind of mind of a woman or spouse you want to marry.
Yeah.
What tribe?
That's like
Yeah,
the
God,
value.
anyone,
Anyone you
anybody
give me.
you have. What tribe? Women from Ondo, they are different from women from
Ekiti.
Ekiti. Because the same thing goes to money. God, any amount of money, there's nothing like that.
Yeah.
The Bible says anyone who is double-minded should not think he will receive anything from the Lord. Let your eyes be single, that your whole body may be full of light. That means this is what I want. It says, come in Mark 11, 23, 24. It says, whatever ye desire. You don't desire two things, you desire one thing.
There's a sense in which I remember I had two particular guys. They both left the church now. I remember they came to see me about marriage, and I said to them that you don't decide when you get married. You know when you are prepared for it, when you are ready for it. There's a sense in which, and it has nothing to do with age.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with it. There's a place where I think God takes you through, where you know, I'm ready for the next. As a matter of fact, marriage becomes the next logical step
For you to
for you to take.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because you won't be able to achieve the things you want to achieve if you didn't have the companion, if you didn't have the support systems, if you didn't have that somebody that encouraged you, you know. And so I find out that we don't teach people that about preparing. Let me put it this way: we have to qualify to marry.
Yes. Yes.
Especially if we want to have a successful marriage.
Yes, and not just marry
for marrying's sake. And most of us don't.
Jesus.
I've seen kids marrying kids and having kids.
It's more now. We have it a lot now.
It's one of the most complex things. A man who doesn't know where he's going, married to a woman who doesn't know where he's going, and giving birth to children who ultimately don't know where they're going.
Yeah.
It's a huge problem for us.
And there are people who are old who now say they have successful marriages, and they do. But they don't know how they got there.
Yeah.
You know that you talked about
Dr.
He talked about scientific.
Yeah.
Science is from God, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
And what is science? Science is step by step
logic.
Process.
Some process.
So we are going to Akobo, but when you are going to Akobo, if you don't tell the person waiting for you at Akobo that I'm a general gas, the person will not be patient.
Yeah.
So impatience is as a result of lack of knowledge. Of step by step.
That's how Uber
So you are saying be patient. You are saying be patient. How can I be patient?
When
I don't know where you are.
What if you are in challenge?
What if you are in challenge?
That's how Uber works.
Yes.
When you book an Uber, it tells you the vehicle is coming in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You're not as impatient. But if I told you to go and stand on the road for 10 minutes for a taxi, you'll be upset.
Exactly.
It's a complete psychology. Once you people know, or even when you do a Windows thing, they tell you 20 minutes for the software to 10 minutes to the
naturally you'll be patient. You don't even need to be praying that God help me to become patient. So a lot of people have successful marriages, but they don't know how. They just say, then they ask them, how is your marriage? They say, just be praying, just be humble, just do whatever she tells you. Why should you do what? I don't know. Just do whatever.
No, so I can turn water into wine.
The danger, the issue about that is that you won't be able to reproduce your knowledge in the lives of people. So that's why. So you have to know step by step what landed us here, how, and then qualification. You don't just become a doctor. You don't become a doctor. You qualify after 7 years.
Thank you.
So, and then we have steps. Maybe apart from temperament.
We have exams. Yeah.
Exams. In fact, now that exam that the Reverend talked about is what I want to talk about now. There are stages. There is crowd stage. There is pre-friendship stage. There is friendship stage. And then there is relationship. And then there is marriage. They have said, Dr. Michael is always saying 3 to 4 years. What should we be doing?
For those 3 years.
If you know you cannot hold your sexual urge, you are not even ready for marriage.
Exactly.
So don't come and say because Paul said, I've said it here before. Paul said we should go and marry so that you know, but you better calm down.
You will burn a lot in marriage.
Well, unless your name is Paul.
Because singles think that married people, they are always having sex in the toilet, in the bedroom, in the kitchen.
They don't have jobs.
It's not like that, oh. They don't have it like that once bills start coming. So what I want to say is that the exams, the person, if you see somebody that you like, you move the person from crowd stage. It's just like outer court, holies of holies. I think there's inner court, and then there's inner court. So you set exam. If this person gets to pass the test, then I move the person from crowd stage to pre-friendship stage. We are not still friends. Then when you pass the exam, when we are aligned, examination is always about alignment.
Values.
values. Cover 3 C's of compatibility. That's the third answer. Compatibility, sexual compatibility. I'm not asking people to have sex. You don't need to have sex
Before you know,
to
yes.
know sexual compatibility. Then purpose compatibility. I'm going to Port Harcourt. You are going to Kaduna. If we marry, how?
Abuja.
Then
You end up in Abuja.
core values compatibility. Our values, do they align? You like talking about fat. I don't like talking about fat. To the basics. So I've answered, I've used, so there are exams that must be set to.
All right, let's move quickly now. Let's now look into the concept of the IVF, surrogacy, sperm bank, and these new modern developments. First of all, let me get your thoughts on those things, and what do you think the impact of those things are in today's relationship here and in the future forward?
Well, my own is, when I heard that, I think we should ask pastors, because
Why?
Why?
no, like medical science is to help us buy time
Okay.
to know what is wrong. So the fact that you are getting antihypertensive drugs, those drugs will not permanently solve a problem.
Cure.
It's to buy time. It's to manage the issue.
Situation.
So doctors, my colleagues in clinicals, prescribe drugs so that you can stay alive. Now, while you are being alive, what are you doing? You want to ask a lot of relevant questions. Where is this hypertension coming from?
Yeah.
What is the cause of this hypertension?
Maybe genetics.
How many doctors will have time to sit down and be saying, what happened to your grandfather? When did he marry Iya Alasho? What did Iya Alasho say? And that's where Dr. Michael's coming. And we spend hours, 6 hours, 4 hours talking about this. Which doctor in Nigeria will sit down when there is one doctor to 2,000 people? Do you understand?
Yeah.
So, why it is possible for God to enable people to give birth? Do you understand? So, number one question is, why are people not being able to give birth? Because there is something wrong. They were not able to solve it, and there's no time to solve it.
Okay.
Then they have to now go to IVF. IVF is not wrong. Adoption is not wrong, just common sense. But you need to ask yourself, am I okay? Something wrong with your body is an indication that there's something wrong inside you. And you must not be distracted by what is happening in your body, because your body is under the influence of your mental health. What's the state of your mental health? What are the things you believe? What makes up your belief system? I went to a radio station, and like I always say, you don't have to be sick. And then the person said, no, there's one Yoruba saying that says, there has to be one health issue. I said, the way you are now, are you okay? He said yes. I said, don't you like the way you are now that you are feeling okay? Must you enjoy sickness? If they give you land now at Ikoyi and they build the land, will you not want it? Must you stay under one shed? Is it that they call your head? Sorry, is it that your head has been nailed down to poverty? So what we are trying to say is that I'm a medical doctor, and that's what we do: IVF and the rest.
You gave us 4 levels of marriage, which I think is pretty accurate. Now, this is the problem. I get married, and the first thing I'm doing is I want children. I've skipped 1 and 2.
Right.
And skipping that 1 and 2 is putting undue pressure on my body.
Right.
Because that's not what marriage was meant to be.
Right. Is there a bell,
so,
pastor? So I can be ringing bell for you.
Yeah.
Just to,
no.
As in, when
Well, my challenge is, I remember this couple, they were here again and they've since left. She used to fight her husband every day over not having a child and all that. And I remember finally telling her one day, I had to go and bring a doctor from UCH. I said to her that, listen, the stress you're putting yourself through, the purpose of sex is for pleasure.
Yes.
The side benefit of that pleasure is a child.
We need a bell.
If all you're having sex for is to have children, you're already in trouble.
Yeah.
if you don't take your eyes off this children thing and enjoy sex with your husband, you are making him tense that is affecting his sperm.
Yeah.
You are making yourself tense that is affecting your eggs.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're not going to produce anything.
Yeah.
Somehow she listened and she has 2 troublesome children right now.
Hallelujah.
Awesome.
But the point I'm trying to make here is, if we, like you said, if we don't understand purpose and where things fit in, the whole purpose, God's original purpose wasn't, the initial thing wasn't children.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It never, else you would say Jesus is a failure.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have children.
Right.
So it's not, we are weighing certain things. And of course, the reason why he wasn't going to have a child was he was going to be here for only 3 years after his ministry started.
Right.
So what's the point of having a child that he wasn't going to be around to bring up?
Awesome.
And Mary, of course, had other children.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can see the logic of God there.
Yeah.
And so for me, this idea that if you don't understand what you shared earlier on about the fact that there are certain things that need to be put in place first.
Yeah.
You know? I remember when I got married, my wife and I decided that we were not going to have kids for at least the first 2 years.
Awesome.
It was a decision we intentionally took.
Made together.
Because I said, I wouldn't know you. You just be pregnant. The next thing, 9 months' time, there's a child. I wouldn't even know who you are. I wouldn't know your temperament. I wouldn't know how. All I'm trying to do is manage you. And you know what happens when a woman has a child? She shifts her entire mentality, her body, her mind, her effort, her resources straight to the kid. And you start getting jealous of a kid.
Oh, getting angry.
you know, because again, but we said 2 years. We're not going. And I remember one morning it was like, it's time to have kids.
Right.
It was just like that. You just knew it was time. God just said, it's time. Stop using all those condoms and stuff. We were married, but we were using condoms, and she was, People won't understand that because they think,
laughing.
yeah,
So
because
why
he's not
you
married, obviously. You know, and because he was planning to have a child 9 months after he married. That's why he's laughing. That's the biggest disaster you get yourself into. You don't know the person you're married to, and you just rush into having a third party coming into take your time. And it will solve a lot of problems for you.
Just before we move on to the next one, I want to make a case for a single lady, right? Let's say a single lady who is now 40s, who's in her 40s, no husband yet she wants to marry, she wants to have children. How do we help such person?
What pushed her to that age 40 that she didn't enter? She was not married. That's what she should
Selecting
ask.
from the crowd.
No, it's more than that. What made
Things
her
can
to be selective? What made her to be selective?
What if it was not a case of being selective?
What I'm saying
Maybe
is
she
that
didn't get the right person.
what I'm saying is that she needs to, and there are many women like that.
Yes.
I have clients like that. But the person needs to, one of them still sent me a text this morning. He messaged me that, I just discovered I'm a wicked person. I just discovered I am wicked though.
She didn't know herself.
I said, wow. Wow, great discovery. Now imagine if that woman has gotten married.
But I think what he's saying is the solution is in the problem.
Yes.
If you keep getting a certain result, you need to ask yourself, what is the pattern in my life that is producing this result? That's what he's trying to say. He's not trying to blame the lady or say she's doing something wrong. It's like you're trying to solve a problem without investigating the role you played in creating the problem.
Awesome. Sir.
And so what I think somebody said it on Sunday, you cannot pray yourself out of a behavior you behaved yourself into.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, wait a minute, I'm always getting angry. I'm always doing this. I'm always discouraging people. I'm too this, I'm too that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or I'm not this enough. It's not necessarily always negative. And so people are always taking advantage of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if you don't analyze that, you wouldn't know what to shift in your life that will bring in the result you're getting. That's what I think you're saying.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
It's not that, oh, she did something wrong, that's why she's not married for 40 years. No. We are saying that the pattern of her 40-year-old life would reveal something that she can adjust that will make the next 40 years pleasurable.
Yes.
But not to say, oh, I didn't do anything wrong, I'm a saint and all. And not even that you did something wrong. You may have just gone on the wrong path.
Yeah.
It's not wrong. It's not that you did something wrong or you missed an opportunity.
No.
You know what I remember when Jesus said to the people, he says, See how I've longed to carry you as like a hen with eagle's wings to cover you. And you missed your time of visitation. So some people miss their time of visitation. And then the problem is that the next visitation might be 10 years' time or 20 years' time. And so those are the type of things you need. So you now say, okay, how am I going to prepare myself for my next visitation?
Yes.
So it's not a matter of criticism. The people should stop being afraid when people tell them, you have a role to play in this thing that you're looking for a solution for.
Yes.
You need to sit down and ask yourself, well, what's the pattern?
Yes.
Let me recognize the pattern. What do? I go out with somebody, 9 months later, this happens, 3 months later, this happens, 4 months later, oh, I see the pattern.
Yes. Or I believe that men has come.
Yeah, you believe that men, yeah. And that if I can now recognize that pattern, I can break it.
Yes.
But if I don't recognize it, I'm going to continue to do it. And like you said, if you're married, you know, and there's some, and what people think men are stupid, and I think in many ways we are.
Yeah.
But we're smart enough to recognize patterns in women.
Very true.
You know, it's one of our gifts.
Very true.
Even before we marry you, we know this is how you are.
Very true.
And so we're able to say, okay, I can give my life to this one.
Yes.
She won't pass this boundary. But there's other person, you see the way she's passing the boundary with somebody else. You say, I'm not going to be part of this boundary breaker.
Yes.
Even if she's a wonderful, good-looking, amazing woman.
Yes.
So lastly now, and this is like a 2-in-1 question because we have to rush down. So the first is, why does ancestry, naming and connection still matter powerfully? And how should the church respond to the wounds of fatherlessness, rejection, and relational disconnection?
Well, so when I talk in church, it's a little bit different from when I talk outside church, but still within the scope of mental health. Number one, I have Tuesdays at Blast FM, and one particular episode we talk extensively about names. One of the major power of names is the influence they have on your mental health. Yeah. So when Abraham was called, it was changed to Abraham for the sake of his mental health. Yeah. Because without your mental, and like I said last week Tuesday, your mental health is a separate entity from you. It can believe something without your permission. And I said on Tuesday that you need to constantly have conversation with your mind, so that just to be sure that we are on the same page. So names have power because when you constantly call somebody a particular name, except if the person, only very few people are able to escape. Very, very few people are able to escape. So the names you call people matters a lot because it influences their mental health, and then it will therefore affect their spiritual growth. From Romans 12:1 and 2, we're able to see that the pathway to spiritual growth is also mental health development. So names have power. Then ancestry. A believer, I don't know if I should leave this to pastor, but a believer, you can look for ancestry. It's fine, it's nice. It helps you initiate the journey of self-discovery. Even as a Christian, at least you are able to initiate to the point of knowing your earthly parents. But a believer, the parent of a believer is God.
Yeah, you're born again.
Once you are born again. And so, just in case you are not able to find your earthly ancestry, a believer is not, an unbeliever has to know, by all means. But a believer, there's another escape route. We are not, believers are not, I want to say believers are not human beings. Believers are supernatural beings. Yeah. And so, but the issue is always about, what is my purpose of knowing God? My purpose of knowing God is to take that knowledge to now discover myself. And that's where believers are having issues. If you stop at the level of knowing God, it becomes religion. And you will not be useful to the society and to yourself. But so, like I say, the knowledge of God is a means to an end. Yeah. A pastor friend heard me say that, and I think he wanted to slap me or something. But the knowledge of God is a means to an end. The ultimate end is to use that knowledge to discover myself.
I like Pastor to answer that too.
Well, first and foremost, let me start from the accessory part. What is amazing me tonight is the fact that It's as if we're coming back to the fundamentals. The whole reason of giving your life to Christ was to change your ancestry.
We need a
That's,
bell.
that's what it's all about. This is the problem. Okay, your father was a witch, your mother was a wizard. You've come in Christ Jesus.
All things have
It's
passed
cut
away.
off.
Yeah.
You can cut it off. Not only that, you can go and rescue as many people in your lineage as possible and start a new lineage.
Right.
So that's essentially is what this Christianity is about. It's
Yes.
to say, okay, I remember somebody gave me this illustration many years ago. He said, let's say you have a flight to London tomorrow morning. Somebody lives in Kano. He's not supposed to be on that same flight. Somebody lives in Lagos. Somebody lives in Ikeja. He's on that same flight. Somebody lives in Ibadan. Somebody lives in Ogbomoso. He's on the same flight. But the time they have to take to get to that airport is different. The man in Kano has to leave maybe 2 days before.
Right.
The man in Oshobo can leave a day before or even a few hours before. The person in Ibadan can leave 6 hours before he gets to catch that flight. The person who's living in Ikeja can just carry a suitcase and walk to the airport.
Right.
Now, all those are the difficulties of life. But once you get into that plane, all of you will take off at the same time and land at the same time. That's what Christ is.
Right.
You come into this ark and it levels the playing field.
Right.
That's what our faith is about. Now, let's go to the one of names. I think I've named more children than I've ever pastored. And I keep telling people the simple story of Benjamin. This is a young man that was born. And his mother called him Benoni, child of sorrow, because she died while she was giving birth to him. And the father heard and said, Oga, that's not true. We're not calling this one. He said, this is the child of my right hand. And if I use my right hand to hold Kayode, even though I don't want to, I'm going to ultimately be holding his left hand. So in that prophetic utterance, he says, this is the child of my right hand. He automatically blessed the guy's left hand. And go and read the story of the Benjamins. They would throw javelins with their left hand with such accuracy. Out of words. But more than that, or maybe I should say greater than that, is the fact that every morning when Benjamin gets up, he's told that he's the child of a right hand. I have an electrician called Long Life. He used to live, his office used to be near my factory at Akwata. And I remember every morning when he gets up, you know what they call him? Long life. Long life. Long life. And I remember at the naming ceremony I was preaching. I said, is that guy is going to live a very long life? Because every day somebody wakes him up and tells him that he has long life.
Yes.
And guess what? Long life was in that meeting. And he said, I'm still here. And this was like 40 years ago that I met him. Am I making sense? So you got to understand why God is very careful about words and he's very careful about names. Have you noticed what he said about Jesus? Even John. Remember what John the response? He said, everybody was trying to give the boy the name of Zacharias and all that. And then remember what his father wrote? Especially in the King James, you see it. He says, he didn't say his name will be. He says his name is John. That's how powerful names are. And we underestimate it. You don't do your homework, or you went to a party yesterday and somebody gave you Hennessy and you didn't call your child Hennessy. Good luck.
All right, Tim, Jenny, any last word? No. So let's just have last words, Dr. Michaels.
Getting to know yourself is the key to happiness. And getting to know yourself, and in brackets, also executing your life purpose, closing the brackets, is the key to happiness. And happiness is what it leads to creativity, innovation, wealth, success in every aspect of life. So you want to, and it's in measures, it's in levels, and it's inexhaustible. It always corresponds to your level of knowledge. And there's only one knowledge. That's the knowledge about yourself. So whatever knowledge you gather, it must always turn you back to getting to know yourself. If it's knowledge of medicine, it must turn you back to getting to know yourself. If it's the knowledge of mechanics, it must turn you back to getting to know yourself. Once you know yourself, what should I use that knowledge for? To execute my purpose in life. That then makes me to be distinct, unique. And then once I'm unique, I'm able to accommodate other people because I know there can be no competition. And then I'm also able to know the kind of person I'm supposed to work with in marriage. If I don't know my uniqueness, I won't be able to know
Amazing. Thank you very much, Dr. Michaels. Thank you, TMJ. Thank you, Pastor, for making this amazing. So we have to call it a wrap. I don't think there's anything to add again because
Yeah, I want to say something.
Okay.
Though. People say God doesn't change, but how many of you know He changes the way He deals with us? There was a time we had to kill cattle. Now we don't have to. There's a different set of things. God is that change. He changes, but not the way, not in His character. My biggest challenge, and I want to leave this not just from my church, not just for everybody sitting here today, is our inability to get new information and change. We resist it. There's somebody listening now who's listening to the fact that your husband's job is not just to provide for you. There's somebody listening now that you can be greater than your husband in finances, but we're going to default because we resist change and we get information and we don't change. It's probably one of the biggest problems we're facing as human beings, especially Christians. New knowledge, new information. You have to constantly keep changing and growing and growing. You can't be the same person you were 10 years ago. And many of us are like that. Sometimes I can tell by the tongues. Your tongues has been the same for the last 10 years. Back, 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 tu, tu, tu. Oh, that's what you're going to say. Something is wrong. Let's be open to change. We'll be surprised what we'll gain when we start experimenting with the things God is showing us.
All right, thank you very much, Pastor. We have to call it a wrap for tonight. Thank you for joining in. I sure did enjoyed myself and as much learned a lot tonight, which I'm still going to listen back again just to ensure that I also understand. So thank you for joining. We have to go now. See you next week as we always do. Next week it will be a new month, so happy new month in advance. Don't forget that this Sunday we have service times, Real Success Seminar by 8 a.m. and the network service by 9:30 a.m. Also in May, we have a Mother's Day celebration, May 9th and May 10th. It's going to be fantastic all day long on May 9th, especially for our couples, singles and couples dinner by 5 p.m., which we're going to be having Pastor Badi Gulano and his wonderful wife come talk to us. And also on May 10th, which is a Sunday, we specially invite you and we want you to join us. Don't forget also that we have New Streams Hub here. If you're looking for a place to work outside the home, trust me, we have the facilities here, and I'm sure that it will worth your time. So thank you for joining in. See you next time. Bye.